Hello everyone and welcome back to another part to my Power of the Daleks review. Now if you have enjoyed the first part and you really enjoyed it, well don't worry, I've still got this part to tell you all about what I thought of the whole story as in total, because we still have a lot of things to go through, such as the kind of personality between Lesterson. We have the planet of Vulcan to describe as well, because I quite like the setting of Vulcan, and we've also got some other stuff to talk about. So let's get into the second part of my ultimate Power of the Daleks review. So let's kick off with the planet of Vulcan, really. So I never saw the planet of Vulcan as entirely. I only saw little bits and clips and pictures of it, only of Pagatron walking through the marshy Mercury swamps. I thought the planet of Vulcan was quite, unique. It was almost like, basically, almost like planet-like, almost like Mercury and, rocky landscape, really. So you have the Mercury swamps, and if you step in them, it's almost like something catastrophe would die because it contains mercury. And you know what mercury does to you on your skin? Well, it's a nasty effect. But also you have the rocky landscape, and it looks quite good actually, with the all, the arcs round, and you see the TARDIS just, excuse me, you see the TARDIS just standing there and just being all ordinarily, materialized, and you can see all of the arcways, the rocky landscape, the Martian swamps, and yeah, it's a really, really unpleasant feeling when you're walking through them. And basically, the Doctor didn't even notice about the Martian swamps because he was too busy looking at his 500-year-old diary. And if you did like the parts where I did explain why Pagatron was speaking himself in third person, well, that's the reason, because he doesn't really know if he is actually the Doctor. He may know the Doctor, but he's not actually the Doctor himself. That's what he thinks. But honestly, when Polly reacts to his expression of not being the Doctor, but you are the Doctor! But then they're like, oh, am I? No, I'm not the Doctor. See, he doesn't even remember himself being the Doctor, and that's always something way difficult to, picture yourself in your mind. You cannot be the Doctor because you cannot remember yourself being the Doctor. Yeah, so basically, I think that kind of story really sets off of who is the Doctor. I mean, we don't even see the word Doctor anymore. We see the Examiner. Basically, in the story where the Patatrons will go through the Martian swamps, and then suddenly, out of completely nowhere, a guy just gets shot. And then suddenly he goes over, looks inside, and then suddenly he basically finds an Earth Examiner. Why would somebody kill an Earth Examiner? And so that's the reason why. And then he decided to take the badge and put it on himself. So if the people found him again, they would realise that he is an Earth Examiner, and so they would bring him back for, examining, really. And so, yeah, and as potentially they were brought back by some people, such as Bragan and Lesterson, and Quill as well. So they were they were brought back to the colony and met with the governor, how they entered the colony and how it's, forbidden and stuff like that. And so, yeah, and then the Earth Examiner went to the examining room to look at the space-time capsule. Blesterson's like, oh no, it's just a lump of metal, that's all. But then Bragan obviously said, it's a space-time capsule. And then suddenly, the Doctor's completely listening to what Bragan's saying, not what Lesterson's saying. He's completely ignoring Lesterson, but he's just, obeying one to listen to Bragan, because he's telling the most important bits of all. Space-time capsule. Not lump of metal, but space-time capsule. That's much better than a lump of piece of metal that you would just find. That's not interesting. Space-time capsule is very interesting, because you don't know what it may contain. And we saw in the first episode where Lesterson was trying to figure out where the secret door was, where one of the compartments would be, and then suddenly he automatically finds the door to the space-time capsule. But that was strange. Like, how did he not know? Like, how did he know in the first place where that button to the door was? Now that got me thinking: has he been in there before the Examiner went in there? Perhaps he did. But then we really do see that somebody has taken a Dalek from the capsule, because when Patatron goes into the secret compartment with Ben and Polly, they do find the Daleks in there, but something strange. They see two Daleks, and they see a little patch where a third Dalek could be standing. But where did the other one go? No one knows. So yeah, that really got us thinking, like, did Lesterson take it? Because he's a scientist and he wants to experiment on it. Because he's never seen a Dalek before. And yes, in episode 2, he was experimenting. And so he really does want to experiment and, you know, extract all the power and all the uses from this Dalek and use it for his own uses. And so he's really almost experimental with so much power and how to bring this creature back to life. And he's so offered his life to the Daleks because, and also the Daleks almost give their life to him as well, because he's the one who brought them back to life because of the power. And so the Daleks are now their servants for the time being. The reason why I say for the time being, they're not their servants all the time, not forever. No, only for the time being. See, the Daleks have a little plan in their heads that they're going to trick the humans into thinking that they're their friends. But no, they're going to turn their back against the humans and steal their more materials and make more Daleks of them, and therefore they'll be able to crush and conquer the colony. That's their plan. Because of using the power. If they use the power that they're draining from Lesterson's power supply, if they increase the power, they're going to use that whole ball of energy or power and use it for their own power, which means that the colonies are not going to have any power, but the Daleks will have overall ultimate power to use for destruction and conquest. So yeah, definitely it's a very interesting plot for the Daleks, because they have a sneaky plan. Yeah, so Lesterson really does get quite irritated by the Examiner, because he thinks that the Doctor's trying to, or the Examiner, he's trying to, you know, make sure that Lesterson doesn't get in trouble with the Daleks, and he's trying to, you know, break the connection between Lesterson and the Daleks. He wants to ruin their friendship, but he has to, because if Lesterson does trust the Daleks, he's just gonna go absolute berserkers when they turn against him. And so yeah, in episode 4, Lesterson does go off peak. He really does. He gets all into a corner. He has his biting his nails. He's shivering. He can't talk properly. He's running like a maniac, and he can't believe what he saw. He went into the space-time capsule and he saw the factory line of Daleks being made. And wow, did he literally see all of these Daleks being made, all of these materials being used for their own purposes. And like, this is like, oh, what have I done? What have I done? I've done it to mass destruction. And like, you can literally feel his panic reaction to it. You can literally feel that he's like running away, crying and screaming as we're all going to be doomed. So yeah, that is one thing that I quite like about Lesterson. Although he's quite sly and very manipulative towards the Doctor, like, no, I want to continue with this investigation and no one's going to stop me. And so yeah, he's quite, you know, abruptive to the Examiner, because he wants his experiments to be on his own, and he wants to find out for himself, because he's the scientist and the Examiner just examines stuff. But Lesterson just really wants all of the, you know, the gratitude and the power, really, to make sure that he, you know, is king of like this massive discovery that he's found of way of using the Daleks for their own purposes. But no, he literally just going off. He just goes off into panic mode, and he really just cries out into tears and like, oh, what have I done? What have I done? So that's just what with Lesterson we think of the story. And then suddenly, I think he gets killed off by the Daleks. I think Lesterson wanted to stop the Daleks from, you know, infiltrating the base, and so he literally just stood there like, I created you, and you will obey me. Daleks didn't obey anyone, and so that's where the point where Lesterson gets killed off, and they are completely forgotten about Lesterson. Yeah, but Lesterson's a very interesting character, because he sometimes can be quite, you know, great with, you know, the power. Actually, no, wait, yeah, Lesterson does get killed off. I was just thinking about another episode. Yeah, so the story really takes toll, and we also have many different alliances within the story as well. We have as I said before, I think we have Bragan, Janley, and some other colonists that are working together to overthrow the governor, to take his place. And as Bragan, as we all know, that Bragan, he wants to take control of governor, but also he wants power over the Daleks as well. He wants really to use the Daleks for their own destruction, whereas the Daleks, they're completely disobeying him and disobeying every single order and just using and just killing all the colonists. And Bragan doesn't know that the Daleks have turned evil for once. And so this is really, it's a situation where Bragan is stuck in his own situation where he cannot do anything. If he wanted to go out there, he would probably get killed himself. He wants to stay alive though. Yeah, I know, but you can't force, more people to go and fight and fight and fight. Well, you could, probably for the government's sake, but literally, you cannot kill the Daleks. The only way to kill off the Daleks is to drain the power. And that's what we see in episode 6. We see the power being drained off by the Doctor smashing the whole power supply. And as that power supply is being destroyed because the Daleks have been taking all of the power from that supply and using it for their own power. And so if they slash and destroy all of the power, then the Daleks are going to deactivate. They're not going to move. They're not going to move at all. And they're not going to kill at all. And so therefore, they just completely, explode really. They just literally melt down into pieces. And just, that's how you just kill the Daleks. Use it to your advantage. What did the Daleks steal in order for them to use and gain more power? You destroy the power supply, and therefore it will destroy their own power, and therefore would get rid of them all. Simple as that. A simple move can cause a chain reaction of explosions. A chain reaction of exploding Daleks. Yeah, so we have quite a good lot of plot lines in this story. Ones I wouldn't think that would be a plot line at all. Oh yes, we have to mention the incredible cliffhangers. Now, if you don't know what a cliffhanger is, basically, if you've seen a 2-part episode of Doctor Who, or if you don't know what's one in total, basically a cliffhanger, it's almost like the episode is going into another, it's the end of an episode, and you want something to be looked forward to in the next episode. And so they always have a good cliffhanger to creep you out at the end of the episode to make sure that you're ready for the next one. So basically, they usually have loads of cliffhangers within the classic era at the end of every episode. So yeah, it's definitely spine-chilling to watch. I think we have 3 of the best cliffhangers ever. Firstly, number 1, the one I liked the most was the cliffhanger in episode 2, where the Dalek is demonstrating how to move a chair and how to move a barrel. Basically, Lesserton is testing him to show to the governor how he could be of some use. But then the Doctor's like shouting at the governor, and Lesserton he completely destroys him and completely exterminates them. And then the Dalek shouts, "I am your servant. I am your servant. I am your servant." And that scene, that overphrase, "I am your servant, I am your servant," the repetition just creeps you out that the Daleks have actually turned good for once, and the Daleks are actually serving you, and that's a creeping out moment. And I like the voices that the Daleks make, because it's just spine chilling. And just when it goes into the titles or the credits, it just really builds up the suspense. So yeah, that's one of the cliffhangers I have to mention. But also, we have to mention another cliffhanger, as I said before, episode 4. Episode 4, we really do see the factory line of Daleks being made. Literally, after every Dalek, after every Dalek, after every Dalek, we see a factory line. And then suddenly, we see all of their weapons being, installed into armour, making sure they're coming alive with their eyeballs, raising up. And then suddenly they go into this big, massive room, and then they see thousands or hundreds of these Daleks being made multiple times. And so yeah, and then that was the end of the cliffhanger. And I thought, wow, with these amount of Daleks in that time capsule, it's almost like the TARDIS. It's big on the inside. It may look quite massive. It may look quite small in the laboratory, but when you get inside, it's completely massive. It's bigger on the inside. Yeah, we always have the, what's that word that the Doctor would use to describe the TARDIS? Dimensional Transcendental. That's it. So yeah, it's basically like the TARDIS, but in Dalek capsule form. So yeah, that episode 4 definitely is one of a good cliffhanger, showing the satisfactory line of Daleks, and creepy people are like, this many Daleks can kill, only one Dalek can destroy the whole colony. Besides, how many Daleks will kill the whole world? You know, because you may think that one Dalek can kill the colony. How about 100? Oh yeah, you're definitely in trouble. And we have to mention that the final cliffhanger, which I absolutely adore, is that episode 5 cliffhanger. It's where the Daleks are moving into their, basically they're gathering as a group, as an army, and they're talking to each other, exterminate all humans. And this is where the Daleks get really, aggressive and almost, as we all know, the Daleks, they're mean, they're full of hatred, and they want to conquer and destroy every single living matter. And that's where they are. In the final episode, in the final scene of episode 5, we see the Daleks being how they are. They're being full of hatred, full of anger, and no mercy at all shown. They literally are set out to conquer and destroy the colony. And I love it. Daleks conquer and destroy, and you see many Daleks going round the corner, and more Daleks, and they're shouting at the top of their voice, almost like it's a fully invasion, really. And it is. And it just really builds up to the suspense of the final episode. It just really sets off of what's going to happen to the colony. What's going to happen at all. And so you really don't know what's going to happen. And so it really builds up. All of these cliffhangers build up so much suspense in all of these episodes. It's just fantastic. Yeah. And so guys, I really think that's everything. Well, also another creepy scene that kind of creeped me out, when the Doctor and Ben were going back to the laboratory, or like their little restroom. They really do see 4 Daleks going past. But wait, were there only 3 Daleks in the capsule? Where did the 4th one come from? See, there's loads of moments where it can creep you out. And just that's why Power of the Daleks is just so incredible, so fantastic. And yeah, the animation is absolutely phenomenal. What a brilliant... Because if we didn't have that animation, if it was on reconstruction, I would not be able to watch that. But thank goodness it's in animation. And for once, I absolutely adore the animation to bits, as I explained in the last episode. And so David Whittaker, writer of the Power of the Daleks, also writer of the Evil of the Daleks. Evil of the Daleks. No. Power is way better. Power is way better. You have no idea, how Power is such the ultimate Dalek story. Now, since it's fully animated and not Evil of the Daleks, why don't they do the Evil of the Daleks? Comment down below if you want Evil of the Daleks to be animated, or you want some parts to be recovered, or you want the whole thing to be animated. Please comment down below if you want that at all. And so, I'm really glad that I've done this review, because I love Power of the Daleks. It's just incredible, and I think the whole episodes deserve a 10 out of 10. It almost makes to be one of my ultimate all-time favourite Dalek story of all time. But I have a very special top 1 Dalek story of all time. But how about for my next video, we will discuss maybe my top 5 Dalek stories of all time. And maybe my top worst Dalek stories of all time. So we do have a good one, and I have some great ones, and I have some good bad ones. So we'll discuss maybe that for the next video. And so guys, I hope you have enjoyed this full Power of the Daleks video and review. It has been fantastic to tell you my thoughts on how the whole story is and how it came about. I just love reviewing so much things that I like about Power of the Daleks. It's just absolutely incredible. I cannot say any much more about Power of the Daleks. Power of the Daleks is just absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely. Anyway guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please do give a like, share and subscribe as always. And if you're new to my channel, please do hit that subscribe button right now, because I really do need more. And if you do adore Power of the Daleks, then we can discuss more on what you think that is the best and ultimate Dalek story. And so I will probably do that maybe for the next episode or when that's going to come. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this the Power of the Daleks review, and so I will leave you to it and have a great day, and thank you for watching.